Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley, and today I want to discuss the topic of recruiting, and that is because there's a narrative out there when it comes to Josh Heupel and recruiting, his success or lack thereof in the world of recruiting. So I want to bring that to you guys. I want to bring up a couple of points. I don't pretend to be an expert when it comes to recruiting, but I can look at numbers, I can look at analytics, and I can present it to you. And then I want you guys, I think we have a pretty knowledgeable fan base that tunes into this show. I want you guys to come into the comment section and let me know your thoughts on this topic today. But as always, first and foremost, guys, do me a favor, go ahead and smash that thumbs up. Let's destroy it right out of the gate. Smash it, press it, push it. Anybody new, it's just right below the video. Just press that little thumbs up. Also, make sure you are subscribed to the channel so you don't miss out on any new content as we cover spring practice leading up to the orange and white game. Also, if you want to join the channel, there is a couple of tiers for that. Just hit the join button, check that out. But enough of the plugs and promotion. Let's get into the task at hand, and that is the video. Like I said, there's a narrative when it comes to the world of recruiting. And if you look at this article, this is from right around the time that Josh Heupel was hired. It's called The Good, the Bad, or the Bad, the Good, and the Reality of Josh Heupel. But as you scroll down and look at the article, the ongoing theme, this is what you see all over the internet when it comes to Josh Heupel and whether or not he is going to be able to succeed at the University of Tennessee is his history of recruiting. And look, let's look at this article right out of the gate. First off, Josh Heupel can't recruit. That's it. It's just cut and dry. He can't recruit. And then you go down and it talks about where his classes rank, and it depends on what recruiting service you look at, whether it's Rivals or 24/7 or ESPN or whatever website. The numbers that I've got that I'm going to go through are a little different than these, but still it's the same across the board for what I've got. So just keep that in mind. And then it goes on to say that Josh Heupel has never gained a commitment from a four-star recruit. We all know that Josh Heupel coached at the University of Central Florida. How many four-star recruits has any head coach pulled at the University of Central Florida? It's not as if Josh Heupel was coaching in the SEC. It's not as if Josh Heupel was at Ohio State or Michigan or a top program in the ACC where the expectation is to pull four stars. But when you look at the numbers, let's keep that in mind. Let's keep in mind that Josh Heupel has never gained a commitment from a four-star recruit. Let's keep that in mind. And then we can go on to talk about how he was the mastermind behind an offensive unit that ranked top 10 in points per game in each of his 3 seasons at UCF. 8th in 2020, 5th in 2019, and 6th in 2018. They also ranked in the top 5 in total offense per game in each of those 3 seasons. Pretty impressive numbers, especially pretty impressive numbers for a guy that's never landed a 4-star recruit. I wanted to start out with that article because that is the tone, that's the narrative, that's what everybody seems to talk about when it comes to Josh Heupel. Now, where I'm going to go with this next comes from some comments that was made by wide receiver coach Cody Burns during the press conference yesterday after practice. So I want to kind of pull up this article and look through it. It's from A to Z Sports Nashville. Again, they do good work. I read a lot of their articles on here. I encourage you guys to go check out their website. Like I said, they do some really good stuff. I want to give them credit because this is their article written by Zach Reagan. It came out just this morning. But what it says here is the early signing period is a little over 8 months away, yet the Tennessee Vols still don't have a player committed to its 2022 class. And I want to encourage you guys, while we're on the topic of recruiting, JP did a great video breaking down the top prospects from the state of Tennessee, who he thinks Tennessee is in on, who they're not, what they can do. Highly encourage you to go check that out. JP and the Indie Kid both. Those two guys really follow recruiting. They really have a grasp on each kid, where they come from, who's in on them, who's not. So I encourage you to go check that video out. I'll actually link it at the end of this video. So make sure you tune in for that. The article goes on to say, in a normal year, this would be cause for panic. Recruiting classes are normally filling up by this date on the calendar, but due to COVID-19 and the lack of recruiting visits, this cycle is anything but normal. Most recruits are waiting to take visits before committing to a program. And something that's interesting that Tennessee is doing for their practices. They are setting up private Zoom meetings for recruits, and the recruits can actually watch how these coaches interact with players. They can watch their specific position group. I think that's a really neat thing that Tennessee is doing. Not sure if other schools are doing it or not, but let's continue to read this again. Tennessee wide receivers coach Cody Burns took to the podium yesterday, and this is what he had to say. He said, "I think that once guys start to see what we're doing in the spring game, in this fall coming up, how we're going to throw the ball, what we do, the tempo which we play, and how different we're going to be offensively than everybody else in the SEC. I don't think it's going to be a hard sell once we start putting things on film that kids can see." I love it, man. I love that confidence that he has. He goes on to say Tennessee is a storied tradition. If I'm one of these young guys out there, a chance to play at Tennessee means something to play here on Rocky Top in front of 102,455. That sells itself. It's a blessing to be here, and I hope those kids really understand that. And that's my point that I want to make. Tennessee does sell itself. It does. And I know we can talk about the years of agony. We are at the bottom when it comes to the SEC right now. We're the laughing stock. So how can the University of Tennessee sell itself when we're the laughing stock of the SEC? I want to look at some numbers here because, again, people saying that Josh Heupel could not recruit at UCF. He was the head coach for 3 years. Everybody talks about how he rode Scott Frost's coattails. Well, let's look at the numbers at UCF and also at Tennessee. I'm going to start. Scott Frost was hired in 2015, and I'm going to throw a lot of numbers at you guys, but just to make a simple point here. Scott Frost took over in 2015. The recruiting rate rankings by year starting in 2015, 63rd, 57th, 53rd. 2017, 53rd. That's the year that UCF went undefeated and claimed themselves as the national champions. 2018, 67th, 52nd, 58th, and 51st. So you're talking about from the time that Scott Frost took over until Josh Heupel took over, coached his 3 years, you're talking about a team that is consistently in the 50s to 60s range. It doesn't matter if Scott Frost was the coach. It doesn't matter if Josh Heupel was the coach. They are pretty consistent in the 50s and 60s in where they rank in recruiting. And now you flip over and you look at Tennessee. Same years, from 2015 to 2021. They were as high as 4th in 2015. And Butch Jones, as much as everybody hates the guy, he had them moving in the right direction at one point. Made some stupid decisions. Time to move on, no doubt about it. If you were a subscriber to this channel at the time, you know that's how we felt. But he had a couple of 9-win seasons. And then in 2017, after going 4-6, not winning a single game in the SEC, the 2018 class came in at 21st. And that's the lowest. That is the lowest a Tennessee recruiting class has been since 2015. As high as 4th and as low as 21st. And when you sit back and you look at us and where we're at and where we want to be, Tennessee recruits itself. And I love the comments made by Cody Burns. I love the confidence that he has in their ability to coach these kids up and put something on film that is going to make kids want to come to Tennessee. All you have to do is take care of it on the field of play, and recruiting at Tennessee will take care of itself. The article from A to Z Sports talked about Derek Dooley and talked about Butch Jones and how they didn't have any problems landing top 25 classes. And we all know the stories about Derek Dooley and recruiting. But he didn't have any problems landing top 25 classes. And I don't think Josh Heupel is going to have that problem either. So, yes, he's off to a slow start. And, yes, there is this negative narrative out there that Josh Heupel is a lazy recruiter and he's not going to be able to recruit. But I think when you look at the numbers, maybe it's a little less about Josh Heupel and a little more about Central Florida when it comes to Josh Heupel's success or lack thereof in recruiting. Leave me a comment, guys. Let me know what you think. Does Tennessee recruit itself? If Josh Heupel puts something on film, something that excites these kids with these this fast-paced, fun, exciting offense, is recruiting going to take care of itself? Or are you on the flip side of that? Do you think that Josh Heupel is a lazy recruiter and doesn't have what it takes to succeed in the SEC? Leave me a comment. Let me know. That's going to wrap it up for this video. As always, please press that thumbs up on the way out the door, and I will talk to you guys soon. My name is Boogie Bentley for the Talkin VAWLS Network. Go Big Orange.
The songs howl like we poets sat in our chains, soaking moonlit falls, unbroken past this inundated orb that we call home. And it's night and I'm alone and I'm alive.